This meeting is now being recorded.
Good afternoon, Derby agents. This is Kevin Shady talking to you live from Louisville, Kentucky, where it is absolutely gorgeous outside and makes you wonder what you're doing inside a conference room all by yourself talking to a speakerphone. But that's what we do so that we can make sure that you've got all the latest and greatest information. And we've got a couple of gentlemen from PGI. And if you don't know who GlobalMeet and iMeet is or are, then you've got some serious questions that you've got to answer from me because you're on GlobalMeet right now. GlobalMeet is our web conferencing product through PGI, our partner that was a initial Derby agency partner now 2 years ago, back on September 11th of 2012. They were one of our charter solutions partners and have been with us for these 2 years. And we got Michael Barron and Darren Suders on the line from Atlanta, and we're going to have a conversation. This is going to be a little bit different. You're not going to see a bunch of slides. I know Michael is teed up and ready to pull out a slide presentation if we think it warrants it. But I think what we're going to do today, guys, is just kind of have a conversation and talk about some opportunities that are out there. And Michael and Darren are going to share some of the success stories that they've had and that they've seen, not only from the agent channel, but from VARs and other folks as well, and some of the larger clients that they've got in play and what they've done from a solution to take their business to another level. So, guys, welcome.
Thanks, appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks for having Darren and I. We obviously really appreciate the Derby relationship, and you guys have a lot of great solutions, and PGI being one of those, and a lot of great sellers out there. So we look forward to being here today, and obviously talking a little bit about how they can be more successful, and at the end of the day, make some money.
So let's start with that. Let's talk about what you guys are seeing out there today. Let's focus on the agent channel initially. Where are you seeing the agents today having the most success? And for those that are relatively new agents to the Derby agency, where should they be focusing their attention first?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different successes that we've seen in a lot of different verticals and markets, right? I can talk, real quick on at least one that Darren and I actually just recently started working on and closing this thing out. Is it's a construction company, right? So, I've closed deals from energy companies and this is a construction company, from marketing to HR people to sales. So there's a wide variety of folks that are using our platforms, but this one is actually a construction company. And, if you're listening and you don't really know who PGI is, quick high level is we provide audio, web, and video conferencing, right? So all cloud-based, but this is bringing back to the bread and butter of where PGI came from, and that's just plain audio conferencing. Kevin and I have talked a little bit about this, and there is a huge market out there, not only for web and video conferencing, but audio conferencing. And this is a construction company that we're working on, large construction company. And what the agent actually did, and I talked to them probably a month and a half ago, kind of the same type of conversation, and said, hey, why aren't you, what's the deal? Let's get some more, opportunities rolling with PGI. What can I do to help? And I said, why don't you do this? Go to a couple of your clients or your prospects you're talking to and ask them, what are you guys doing for conferencing? And guess what happened? He asked that question, what are you doing for conferencing? And they said, oh, yeah, well, we use, I believe it's Intercall and all this other stuff. So guess what? I said, well, why don't you do me this favor? Give me the invoice. We got the invoice. We analyzed, and we will analyze for any of the sellers that are listening. We will analyze these particular documents so that you obviously can almost stand back, and we'll do all the work for you. And we found a significant savings, and I'm talking about, if you're just talking about from a price standpoint, they're around. We cut them in half, 50%. Okay, and this client was actually going to be saving somewhere around $1 million. Over the year. So as you can see, this is a pretty large account. But again, it goes back to the audio conferencing, and all this person did was, hey, what are you guys doing for conferencing? We got the invoice. Guess what? We got the invoice. We also found that we're saving them a ton of money on the audio side, right? 50%, huge savings. I mean, companies are and it's a no-brainer for them. Not only that, we found that they have WebEx. So everybody out there, we compete with WebEx, GoToMeeting, Adobe. If you hear those words, get us involved. Get me to the table, we'll sell it for you. But in this particular case, this construction company, they had 1,200 licenses, and the agent didn't even know that. So as you can see, we'll uncover this business for you, and not only will we uncover this business, we'll save the client that you're working with, you'll become a hero, and you'll make a ton of money. So that's just a quick case of just a construction company where, the person was asking, the seller or the agent was asking the right question, and that was, what are you guys doing for conferencing? That's it. Get them talking.
Yep. And I think, Kevin, what you're going to see is the phenomenal piece about our solutions is they're utilized across all verticals, across all corporate entities, internal, and the reality there is that 99% of the customers, the partners out there that have customers that are working with customers because they sold other services, conferencing is just another easy way to be able to capture revenue from your existing customer base and be able to, create that reoccurring revenue stream. The beautiful thing about our services is that, the implementation timeline is less than 24 hours, so you're immediate to revenue. Oftentimes, it can be a quick decision to go to another provider because sometimes, and in many cases, our services can be provided under no term or commitment. So users can come on board and just pay per minute per participant. And then also look at our wonderful audio and web bundles where they pay a flat fee per user to really help control costs, like in the case of our construction company that Michael was speaking about. But the beautiful thing about that is to you and to your partners out there is all that adds up. Whether it's $5 or $5,000, you're creating an additional reoccurring revenue stream with a phenomenal product, with a phenomenal company in PGI, because we are really dedicated to helping ensure that your customers have a good, positive experience. And not only that, we want to help you grow. We want to grow our businesses together. So it's a really great combination. It's a really great solution just to do what Michael just said, which was just simply ask the question, what are you doing for conferencing? And then you can rely on our expertise to be able to help you, do an invoice comparison, feel very professional in terms of what you're presenting and the cost savings you're presenting, and being able to go out there and show added value that you bring to your customers as a consultant.
That's excellent. And guys, let me also point out that, if PGI is a new company to you, they certainly aren't in the conferencing space. And they've been around. They were, before they were PGI, they were Premier Technologies. And, they've been doing audio conferencing since I launched the Ultima calling card with Unidial back in 1995. So they're around. They're a stable company. They're over $600 million annually and growing, and they are utilized by many of the Fortune 100 companies out there too. So let me get back to the construction company example for a second. It's audio only. What type of rate does a customer like that typically get with all that kind of volume, Michael?
Well, they were doing, 1 million minutes a month from an audio conferencing perspective, and, generally speaking, depending on if they're in a contract or not in a contract, you're probably going to see around, at least these folks were around 4 cents. You'll probably see 4 to 3 cents to 2 cents, something like that. But the great thing about it is, if you look at everything else with all the fees and everything else that's tacked onto that, they were really sitting at 6 cents, and they didn't even realize it, right? So what we've done is we've brought them down to that 3 cent standpoint, and what's great is, again, it's going to give them that 50% from a discount perspective.
Right, and just so everyone understands the Derby program, we set you at a specific agent rate, and if you want to know what that is, I'll tell you later on, and then you mark it up to whatever you want to charge the client, and you just make sure you put that on the form when you send it in to PGI, and they'll rate it at whatever rate you tell them to do. I'll be honest with you guys, most of our customers that the agents have put on through Derby onto PGI for audio only are really selling more in that 7, 8, 9 cent range. But they're smaller customers. They're not talking about 1 million minutes a month like Michael is with this construction firm. They're more of the small business guys that aren't doing, maybe $50 to $100 a month in conference calling, and that's fine. Their volume doesn't warrant a rate down that's that low, like they're driving 1 million minutes a month. But just so you understand, you get the benefit of all the upside. Whatever you mark the rate to be and however competitive you need to be in the situation, depending upon your relationship with that client and what they're using today versus how much you want to save them tomorrow, and as well as put the balance into your agency as a continuing residual stream.
Yeah, let me jump in real quick, Kevin, just before you go on, and just on that, small, medium businesses, large, whatever it may be, some of those small and medium, they're kind of just out to the wayside. Nobody really pays attention to them. I can tell you right now, where a really good place to start and where you can really get some easy pickings is the carrier relationships, the people like AT&T, Level 3, Verizon, those types of companies that have audio conferencing, and guess what? They're not paying attention to them. They're probably sitting at 12 cents, 15 cents. You can come in, you can gain the business, you can earn the business, and then, again, you're going to start getting commission on that. And it'll probably create a little bit more stickiness for you as well, because I'm sure that you're in there already with a couple of your products portfolio that you've sold from Derby.
And yeah, Kevin, that brings up another great point. I mean, oftentimes when you look at services, you look at the spectrum of offerings that you have available in your toolbox or that your partners have available through you. And, oftentimes network services, LD, and some of those other services out there are under some longer-term contracts. So as a partner of yours, if you run into an opportunity and you're trying to establish that relationship, you're trying to get your hooks into them, a lot of times, these services can be under 2 or 3 year contracts. But the great thing about it is it's easy for, in what Michael said, is a carrier relationship, because the conferencing spend is just a feature gap. It's easy for these companies to be able to pull that revenue out of their overall spend with Level 3, with AT&T, and with Verizon, because they're already hitting their commitments. But it gives you, Mr. Partner, the ability to get some sort of service in place to continue to build your relationship and the value, again, that you bring as a new consultant to that company. So whenever those IT services come up again for renew, you have the ability then, because of your ability to offer PGI services, our collaboration services, to really get your foot in the door and continue to drive additional sales of other services and solutions that you offer. So it's really a win-win. You're able to present a solution that you control the price point on, and you're able to present a solution that's easy to convert with no upfront commitment. That way you're able to establish a tie to a new prospect or customer.
So we've talked about the type of customers, and where the agents will get a bigger bang for their buck, and what type of opportunities are out there and where they should go, at least initially, in looking at their existing base. What about who should they talk to? Who's the real decision maker when it comes to the conference calling within most of the companies out there?
I'll jump in and kind of speak to that. I mean, it really kind of depends. We talk about verticals and the fact that, all companies utilize, collaboration services. The decision maker is typically made at that IT director level, or up to the CIO, depending upon if you're into, an enterprise level account. So I would really say that being able to focus at that director level, because most of the time, that SMB business is going to be a great, phenomenal business. It's going to comprise a lot of your overall customer base. That's where you're going to want to decide, because that IT director can make a decision on the phone. Again, no term, no commitment, no upfront CapEx cost to be able to make that transition. So, that's definitely where I would focus.
Okay. So what are the obstacles that we're going to run into, or that we do run into today, in trying to market conference calling? I mean, what's holding people back?
Maybe elaborate a little bit on that. I mean, it can happen a lot of different ways. What would you like to really hit on?
Basically, let's say on the pre-sale side of it, what's stopping customers? Once they become a customer, I think you pretty much got them locked up, because the service is airtight and it works, and that's really all folks want, is they want to be able to do their conference call and they want to move on. Now, those that are getting more involved in web conferencing, they want it to be easy in terms of the presentation slides, to be able to maneuver through them. They want to be able to share their screen. They want to be able to record calls like I'm doing today. But just for the most part, what's stopping people from, or from the opportunities out there from moving forward.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I think everybody really needs to understand is, and we're all this way, right? I mean, everybody's kind of scared of change, so you got to understand and really sell them on PGIs. We have actually a team really dedicated for companies, enterprise, small, medium business, whatever it is that come on board. It's called our IST team, Implementation Services team, that really grasp on, understand exactly what this company is looking for and where they're coming from. We know all the competitors out there, how they run their business, so we understand when they come on board with us, really be able to turn that over without having somebody to be scared of, the change or, moving to another provider and causing a ton of headache from, the IT staff and everything like that. I mean, we have a great team that's dedicated to that. And not only that, we can really match, let's just say we're talking a little bit of audio conferencing here, so we'll stay there. If somebody is on intercall right now and they like their numbers, or not really, just not their numbers, but their whatever it may be, this particular, dial-in numbers, passcodes, there's things like that we can match up and make it so that, the CIO, the CEO, the CXO, whatever it is comfortable with this, because those are really the people that are going to be the loudest, right? So we do a really good job at that, and we find that change is sometimes the biggest thing. And not only change, I mean, we find, at least when I'm talking to a lot of the clients and prospects that we talk to on a daily basis, and really the deal is the support's really not there for a lot of these customers, especially in the small, medium business space. We love all of our customers, small, medium, large, enterprise, it doesn't matter. We show the same support to some of our global organizations as some of our, really smaller companies as well. And here's the great thing. Myself included, there's a team behind Derby Agency, which then goes into the sellers that are here on the call today. You got myself, who's Michael Barron. I'm really on the sales side, so I do the demos and put the agreements together, really the strategic sales side of things. And then we have Lynn Edmondson, who's part of the team as well. She's the account partner manager, really, and she manages the day-to-day clients that we do bring on for Derby Agency. And then you have Phoebe Wimbish, who's on the partner support specialist, who can really do about anything. She's been here forever, and she's great. And then also Ryan Hanks as well. And then we have a sales engineer, so that whenever myself get in the weeds from a technical standpoint, she can jump in, and her name's Lori Smiles. So that's what I would say.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when we look at change, Kevin, the biggest thing is well, what's the impact to my users, right? What other projects do I have going on? And one of the things that we really do well compared to anybody else in the market is price point and what savings are is one discussion. But there's a whole other discussion when you bring PGI to the table, and that's all the deliverables. Everything that we're going to provide to the customer whenever they're considering and deciding to move forward with us in terms of email communication to the users, making sure that they're aware of the change. We have that all pre-drafted. It's something easy for a customer to send. Again, what Michael mentioned, if it's an audio-only customer, the ability to match their passcodes. So, again, we can keep it, very, very similar to what they've experienced in the past. And then, when you look at our software solutions, iMeet, GlobalMeet, the ability to take a look and meet with the IST teams to go over their network environment, any type of changes that need to be made, any type of updates, any type of tweaks. All that's done before our information ever reaches the end users, the people inside of the organization that are depending upon our services day to day. And that's not to be overkill or worrisome. It's the fact that we want to make sure that each user has a pleasant experience. And also often anymore, you just see companies buying on price. And, the decision to go is basically a pure price-driven solution, but there's no real transition support. There's no help and commitment to the customer to make sure that they're going to have a good positive experience. And that's a whole other conversation that you get to bring to the table whenever you present PGI for collaboration services.
I think you really hit the nail on the head there too, guys. Is part of it, Michael? I agree with you. Is that to change just? I don't think not so much that people are afraid of change anymore. I think people understand that things are always going to change, especially from a technology and telecom perspective. But it's really habits that we've got to get changed around here. And you get into a habit of using a particular conference calling bridge and platform. And the fact that PGI can maintain and duplicate Maybe not the actual dialing number. I would expect that needs to change, and maybe not. I guess you could port that if you're allowed. But being able to duplicate the passcodes for those that are doing audio-only conference calling, I mean, at least you've covered half the battle. And I think that's what we're looking at is changing habits are hard to change, not change itself.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, we should have elaborated probably just a little bit more, but it is. Everybody's plate full. We're all pressured in terms of all the projects that we have to do and accomplish on a day-to-day basis. So, we really want to step up and say, well, these are the things that we're going to do to help alleviate that type of change to your end users in those habits that you mentioned. And it's a great way to put it.
And one of the things that, another point that I want to make sure we get across to everybody during this call is now maybe not so much on talking about on the audio side, but on the web conferencing with GlobalMeet and iMeet, and just focusing on and making sure that people understand the simplicity that PGI has put out there in the marketplace with either one of these platforms. There's no passwords that you need to remember. There's no passcodes. There's no dialing instructions. You just click on the link, and then the bridge calls you, just like you did today, Andrew, and just like the other agents have done. So, I mean, you can do it that way and keep it simple, and you can keep it visual. But also, GlobalMeet can be used, as well as iMeet, as an audio conferencing bridge. And about half of my conference calls, and I do about 6 to 8 of these a day, where I'm using the GlobalMeet platform, and I just happen to, migrate to that platform as opposed to iMeet. I don't know. Maybe I just don't want to look at people. I'm not quite sure. But it seems to be simpler for me on the GlobalMeet side. But I do GlobalMeet calls from my phone, from my wireless smartphone, and there's an app for it, just like there is for iMeet, and it's very simple to just do it, and it's an audio-only call, But I'm not paying on a per-minute basis, and because I'm going through my app, I don't have to do any dialing in or any of that kind of thing, and I can invite people from the app, and they don't even have to dial in. So there's a lot of simplicity and flexibility within the web bridges as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, Kevin, and you bring up some good points. I mean, the platform iMeet and GlobalMeet, we build it around the simplicity, ease of use, really so that folks can have meetings and be productive, right? I mean, you got these other platforms that are out there, and they have downloads, which is very bad when you're talking to an IT person, the CIO, IT director, and, when you're talking about something that's not cloud-based, it really hinders, not only does it hinder them, but it's going to have effects when people are trying to join. So we really hit that nail on the head where we actually have this all in the cloud, so there is no downloads. The meeting call is used, there's no passcodes like Kevin was saying. But just to really fall back what Kevin's talking about, how he's using it as just an audio bridge, just like he said, that's what we do for this platform. We bundle these in. You get audio and web conferencing. The beauty of it is you can actually bundle people in that, let's say that, just that example that I had earlier with the big construction company, not in that instance, but let's just say that, somebody's using, they have 15 power users or 50 power users, and they're using, let's say, $75 a month in that. Well, guess what? You can save them money by bundling them in for, like, let's say, a $49 package. You're almost saving them 50% there as well, and you're bundling in, and guess what? You're going to also give them free web because it's an audio and web conferencing bundle with GlobalMeet as well as iMeet. So there's really ways, there's a couple different ways that we can really go after this, and that's where, I love for everybody just to, remember to ask a simple question, and literally it's, what are you guys doing for conferencing and using WebEx or Intercall, or what are you guys doing? Something's going to click if you hear WebEx, GoToMeeting, Adobe, Intercall, Arcaden, AT&T, Level 3, whatever. That's when you say, well, hey, look, we got a great partner named PGI, and they provide all these platforms from an audio, web, and video perspective. I'd love to see if we can schedule some conversation and show you how easy these platforms are. And that's it. And then we'll take it from there, and we'll see what we can do from a bundle standpoint. And if that doesn't work, we can, of course, go into, per minute. But also, there will probably be some web conferencing in there that we can win from a GlobalMeet or iMeet perspective.
Hey, Michael, if you would take a second and just make sure that the agents understand what kind of support and to the extent of that kind of support that PGI is willing to do to help them on the pre-sale side.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I hit on it earlier where, I said that everybody on this call has a dedicated PGI team, including myself, and again, I'm on the sales side of things. So it would be me and you teamed up, or your team and my team going after. I mean, you have a whole dedicated team. So I'll take it from, let's just use an example of you got an invoice, you asked somebody what they're doing for conferencing, and they said, oh, we're using Intercall and GoToMeeting. And you said, well, that's great. And they got somehow you got the invoice because they were, they wanted to provide it to you, and so you could see. And we will analyze that, right? So we'll look at the per minute. I will, and not only that, we'll look at what they're doing for web, and then we'll get on a call, right? Because I want to make sure we have all our ducks in a row and see what they're doing. Then myself and you and whoever else in your team will jump on a quick call, kind of a discovery call to understand what they're doing, their needs, and some of the functions that they might want to utilize. And we'll go from there. So I'll take it from A to Z, which means you can almost be a fly on the wall when I'm having a conversation with your client or your prospect. So don't hesitate where you need to be the expert. Let us be the expert. Just get us to the table for these people that you're talking to on a daily basis, including your clients and then your prospects, of course. Just mentioning what they're doing for conferencing. And I can tell you right now, if you go back today and tomorrow and call your clients up that you're talking to that are your clients, you've already got the relationship, I can tell you right now that a ton of those companies are using conferencing, and you can get that piece of pie if you ask that question.
That's very helpful. I mean, and guys, we tout at Derby Agency that the partners that we're bringing to the table, for the most part, now not always, but for the most part, are just wanting to get the doors open, and that's all they're asking you to do, and to help manage the relationship on the back end. But other than that, all the heavy lifting, they're more than willing and better able to do. And it's not that we're incapable of explaining conference calling to folks, but let's be honest and let's be frank. I can't be as passionate about iMeet and GlobalMeet or audio conferencing as Michael Barron or Darren Suders are, or their entire team. They live it, they learn it, they love it, and it's what they do every day, and they understand to a much higher degree the differences that are available out there and that they can bring and the difference that they can make to your clients as opposed to just, saving some money and, getting them a web bridge. They can explain and expand on it so much more better than us, and with a passion that goes through and carries through to that customer that we can't duplicate that. So I would encourage all of you to do exactly what Michael just said, and that is just do the basics. Find out what they're doing. Ask the question, what are you doing for conferencing? Let them talk. Say, let me take a look at your invoice and see if I can come up with a better solution for you, because I've got a partner that I've got a lot of confidence in, and I'm sure they can. But let's let them tell you what the solution can be, rather than me try and guess for you and maybe worrying about getting a better rate. Anybody can get you a better rate. I want to try and get you a better solution that'll help you move your business further. That's really just what's going to resonate with these folks.
I couldn't have said it better. That's well said, Kevin.
All right, guys, anything else that you'd like to share with us? I did tell everyone we were going to keep this to a half an hour today, and I think we're coming up on that. So any closing thoughts, Darren, Michael?
Not for me. I mean, again, I look forward to the opportunity to working with everybody that's on the Derby Agency side and all the sellers out there. And I think there's a ton of opportunity for us to work together. And at the end of the day, make some money. I mean, what you see here that Kevin's sharing with you is just one example of some of the incentives that we run, not only on an annual basis, but we do quarterly. So this is our Q4 promotion where you can win up to $25,000 shopping spree. And I can tell you right now, I'm sure your wife or your significant others would love a trip like that. It's $20,000. All you can shop, whatever you want to buy, and a $5,000 travel voucher where you can go to Paris and shop all those nice places out there. So keep that in mind. It's doable, and let me help you get there.
What do we have to do to win it?
Andrew Meltzer, can you repeat your question?
What do we have to do to win that? That's got my wife's name on the bag.
Well, Andrew, so we'll get her that bag for sure. All you need to do is bring us $250,000 in TCV, which is total contract value. And, just giving you some numbers, that's a pretty doable thing. And I can tell you right now, we already have, Darren, we have a few already that's already qualified, right? But once you get there, that's qualification on it. You're good.
Yep. And please clarify, does that have to be only audio? It looks like it can be a combination of audio and web. Correct?
No, that's Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm right. If that's going to be just a software side of things.
That is correct, yes. So you're going to be looking at, in terms of the total contract value to qualify, at minimum is $250,000 in software. So that's where you're going to be looking at, everyone, our iMeet and our GlobalMeet solution in replace of people using WebEx or Adobe or GoToMeeting. And again, we're recognizing the full contract value. Most of our contracts are 2 to 3 year contracts. So if you think about that in cost per license, total number of licenses, it's very easily to do. And that's not just necessarily $250,000 in one contract. You have the remainder of the year to continue to build on that. So it can be a multitude of contracts. It could be 2 contracts equaling that value. That as long as you get to that number, you're entered in, and we absolutely give away our prizes. The last prize we gave away was a Porsche that we flew one of our partners to, and he came, he picked it up, and he drove it off. So we look forward to having the opportunity, and Michael does, in helping you all get to a spot where your names are entered into the drawing.
And Andrew, just to kind of put a pencil to it, I did it very quickly. And if you had an iMeet and GlobalMeet accounts or licenses, and let's just say for the sake of argument that the average retail price was $40 per month, which some are a little higher and some are a little lower, so I think that should blend out about right. In a 3-year term on those GlobalMeet users, you only need 175 users. That's one large account that lets you qualify for that grand prize. But you guys, don't lose sight of those other awards that are out there, which there's some monthly awards out there for $1,000 gift cards on a per month basis. It looks like there's a deluxe award out there of $7,500. And then they got some other awards out there on the standard size, $500 Amazon gift card, $50 Amazon gift card just for qualified leads, just for a lead, so make sure you get out there and you get your share of this sales incentive that's out there. Andrew, since you spoke up, do you have any other questions?
No, I will tell you that I'm gradually converting people. What happens is they get me on one of these go-to-meetings or a meeting that becomes impossible to join all the parties, and then I speak up and say, there's a much better way to do this, and then I jump them on mine. So that's starting to work out. The
Very nice.
proof's in the pudding, obviously. If I bring you some business, you'll know if it's working. But any opportunity that I have to convert these cumbersome dial-in, download the applet, and, just wait for everybody to join, inevitably people have virus protection on their computer and whatever else, and then they can't join, and it delays the meetings. I'd love to know what the average delay is on some of these meetings where you can't just dial in and you have to download something. It's almost like it's by design.
Yeah, we see 15 minutes. That's kind of, I wouldn't say it's an average, but we hear that all the time from customers and people. So, anywhere probably from 12 to 15 minutes, and by that time, either the person's dropped off or they don't want to have the meeting anymore because, unfortunately, nobody was able to either get on or, it started, and guess what? At that point, if you're 15 minutes in, you generally have a 30-minute meeting. You have 15 minutes to accomplish your meeting, and guess what? Generally, that's not going to happen. So,
yeah, I would make this comment. Sometimes it's just not the loss of the time. but it's also the loss of interest, because if you're
Right.
introducing anything new, a concept that's going to require a lot of buy-in on the part of the parties joining in, and you have a rough start to that meeting, that's just lethal. I mean, you really have to be an exceptional salesperson to turn that meeting around after a technical problem like that. And I mean, my endorsement is this, that you have created an easy to access platform. And, you know, the only hurdle that I ever hear is from people saying, why should I pay for something that's free? And I say, you do get what you pay for. And that meeting's a great example. You know, it was compromised because nobody could hear anyone or nobody could get on. And with this, you would have had at least that part out of the way, you know, and
Yep.
that's, you know, I'm a strong advocate of GlobalMeet. I'd love
Great
to
point,
comment.
Andrew.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate the comments and the thoughts that you shared with everyone as well. Michael and Darren, I appreciate you guys hopping on the call and discussing the benefits of iMeet and GlobalMeet for the agents and for their customers, both existing and those in the future, and what they need to do and how they should be positioning iMeet and GlobalMeet, and even just plain old long-distance audio conferencing as well, that they're all topics and of conversations that can help them make life easier, less expensive, and that much more service-oriented than what they're receiving today. So, again, guys, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all that you do for us at PGI, and I look forward to continuing to grow this relationship into the future, and appreciate you guys being with us these 2 years. So with that, guys, we're going to shut it down. I, again, thank you to all of the agents that were on the call today, and for those of you that are listening at home tonight or throughout the weekend on the video replay on the Derby Agency channel on YouTube. Of course, you can on your own Derby Agency app on your smartphone. I hope you've downloaded the Derby Agency app to your smartphone. You can submit opportunities for PGI as well as for all of our solutions partners right from your mobile app. We're trying to make things as simple and easy for you as we can. Soon we'll be adding an additional feature to the mobile app that will allow you to send some of the marketing materials from all of our partners directly to yourself or to your clients, so that you can not have to go fumbling around on websites or anything else. You can just go straight to your app, click a couple of buttons, put in the email address, and hit send. And you'll have all the information that you want to forward on, whether it's flyers, presentation decks, or what have you. So with that, guys, I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.